is indeed beautiful. It is an expression of our creative imagination and in some cases technical skills. And that is why today we are at Nimbus Art Gallery on this episode of Not Your 9 to 5 show, where we feature Mr. Chike Nwagbogu, an accountant turned art collector and dealer.
The important thing about destiny is that you're prepared for things without knowing. And studying accounting actually was a fantastic foundation for me for what I'm doing now without knowing. I was never going to be a chartered accountant. Basically, studying accounting gave me an entry into a disciplined profession. And what I found from my own, little adventures in the arts is that all disciplines are related. So art is really very related to accounting. I quit accounting primarily because I didn't have passion for accounting. Before I studied accounting, my passion was for the arts, and because I had parents who were very conservative, Igbo from Onitsha, they wanted, a child who would study something that he could fall back on, who would get him into the system and a steady job and, a paid employment, something that was a playbook that they were used to. But I felt that, I wanted to follow my passion, and wherever it led me would be where I would land. But I had a belief that following your passion is, like following your heart. If it's truly focused in the right place, it will lead you to great love. And that is what it's led me to. So I have no regrets about following my passion. And in a funny sort of way, destiny has brought me back in contact with my discipline, because although I don't have passion for accounting, I've had to apply those principles of accounting into my passion, which is, for creativity and hopefully to inspire others to be even more creative than myself. I'm not an art collector per se. I'm more like an art dealer who collects, So a dealer who collects is enthusiastic about life, sees potential in almost anything that is remotely creative. And I think that's the great thing about being alive. You're alive to things all around you. And although there's some things that don't have life as we know it, the inherent creativity in them gives them a type of life that draws you. So being a collector or dealer, I would say, is akin to, there's a parable in the Christian Bible that talks about a man who found a great treasure in a field and sold all he had and bought that field in order to have that great treasure. So being an art collector is very similar to finding a thing of great value and literally abandoning everything else to pursue this beautiful treasure. And here at Nimbus Art Gallery at Bugabri House, our mission is to try and basically influence a new wave of cultural expression that is rooted in African culture, African expression, African mythology and science. So for example, what I'm wearing becomes wearable art. It becomes an expression of high culture from Africa. It shows a contemporary African who is aware that he's in Africa. It's quite hot, so this is aerodynamic. You can cool yourself off, scientifically, dynamically. It's got pockets that are aerodynamic. It can, and it looks, I hope, quite interesting to an African or a non-African. The same way, when this becomes old and tired, the African who has no separation between what he wears and what he admires and what he sees on his wall, the scraps are used by this particular artist, Chike Nwagbogu, to create a collage of magnificent art that expresses the beauty of the African woman. You can see that this has been recreated from off-cut fabrics, cutaways, from his mother's sewing scrap yard. And he basically transformed these into beautiful paintings. So the whole point of art to the African is to use, and not just to the African, to everybody who is truly creative, is to use your surroundings to express a high sense of creativity, and this is epitomized greatly by the works of Chike Nwagbogu. And if you take your camera just beyond me, you'll see some larger works by the same artist that embodies what it means to be a creative young person in Africa. When you see the texture, you feel this is all created with fabrics. And the title of this work is The Audacity of Youth. It's a remarkable work because it was the first in a series of paintings created by this young artist in 2017. What happened was, if I can just jump across here so you can have a better view of the painting, is that this young man ran out of oils and acrylics to work with. He ran out of money. He wanted to express himself creatively, but the exchange rate and the import duties for acrylics from Europe and oil colors from wherever meant that he was stuck in the mud. He could not continue to pursue his artistic ambitions because he couldn't afford it. It became basically a no way forward venture because it cost more to produce the work than he could sell them for because of the high cost of materials. So he came to me because I'd seen quite some talent in him and in his works, but he was swimming against the tide. And I said to the young guy, listen, Franklin, try to find your own expression, find your own way. Stop painting, basically. Try to find another way to express yourself. I thought I was just giving him some encouragement. He came back a few months later with a collection of work that included this. He told me that he went home that day or a few days after and was stuck. And when he couldn't get any materials to work with, he went into his mother's sewing room. She's a seamstress. And in a moment of, magic, eureka, whatever, metanoia, he saw all the scraps as a kaleidoscope of colors. And in that moment, he started, a new art form was born where he just used the fabrics to create these wonderful paintings. And it's taken the Lagos and international art scene literally by storm. We're yet to appear in some of the bigger art festivals around, but I think the important thing is to nurture talent and to watch it grow. So, and he is now sitting on the same wall, perched on the same wall as legends like Lemi Garioku, Fela Kuti's artist, Duke Asidere, Nat Okoro, Godwin Adesoye, Segun Ayeson, and of course, the modern day master, Tola Wewe, who literally, created this rebirth of mythology, folklore, and merged it with the visual arts to have this unequaled local expression of local knowledge. Because in his paintings are generations of stories and messages about the African way and the beauty of the African experience. So, just being involved with artists is one of the great pleasures of living in Lagos. And I think sometimes it's just good to take our heads out of the computers or out of our phones and experience the art of life. I think that is really what being alive is all about. Smelling it. How did this all begin? Well, organically, I'd say one step at a time. One thing always leads to another. And you find that I found that one right step leads to another right step, you know, and vice versa. So the important thing about beginnings is that it takes one step, then another. It all seems very, you know, scary because it's uncharted. But if you take that leap of faith, you'll be amazed how that net will catch you and you will just fall into the arms of destiny. And that thing you thought was impossible becomes a reality. So this was a dream. I always felt that from, you know, my boyhood days, it would be a great thing to have an organization like this that is a physical attraction to other people and inspires their own creativity. And, you know, we started as the Nimbus Art Gallery, a small space on Ribadu Road, when I basically realized that having an art gallery in Surulere in my mother's restaurant was not going to, you know, get me there. So basically this great idea of mine started very humbly, and it basically morphed into this, what we like to call entity that is akin to, it has its own spirit, it has its own life, that it has its own, we've been going for 15 years. And the whole idea is to try to have a Guggenheim effect on the community. I just want to use that expression because it's an expression that, you know, it's just jargon. But basically, the Guggenheim effect is, take a city like Bilbao, little known, you know, I don't know how many hundred or how many thousand people are there, but it's just a little place. But, you know, it has an interesting museum that has some of the classic works of European art. So in order to generate a catalyst or have a catalyst for regeneration, the great idea was to have these galleries in these strange cities. So with time, with a Guggenheim gallery that shows Picasso's, Rembrandt, whatever you have of European contemporary art, you know, it has a multiplier effect on the community. Restaurants, bars start opening up to cater for the influx of people to see this great art. So in a similar kind of way, we're hoping that this artistic expression of real African creativity can be an allure or a spiritual attraction to Lagos, Southwest Okoye, and with our many tentacles, culturally, we will be able to connect visitors to this city to culturally relevant places like, you know, other galleries, cultural centers, you know, venues for live music like the New Africa Shrine. So it would be it is an important interface for anyone who wants to be in tune with the vibe of Lagos. So, in the nutshell, this is not really a job. This is a way of life. It's a way of living. It's an expression of true passion in a way that, you know, only an African can express it. In the same way that a Chinese person can only express their culture in the way they know. And I think it's an abundance of joy on a daily, minute-by-minute basis. It's not without its struggles, but I don't have my pay week or my salary week to look forward to. Literally every day is potentially salary week, pay week, or golden fleece week. So it's an exercise of a daily ritual of excitement. Every day is different. Only God knows what the rest of the day is going to bring. But the truth is, whatever it's going to bring, I think we're prepared for it. Not that we have the strength to do it, but it's the adventure that we all talk about. I was thinking the other day, what is it like to have a job? I've never had a job. I've always had passion for life. And, once you have passion for life, every day is filled with excitement. Some people have a job, but it's, it's a life of choice. It's good for some, but for me, I think the job of life is far better than the life of having a job. The joy of living, the good things of life, starts when you lose your job or when you don't have a job, because the sky is not even the limit. You have no limits. You can create your own sky or your own limits or your own windows. Like that advert says, just do it, but do it right. Whew, okay, challenges. Well, where can I start? Electricity, diesel, generators, infrastructure. That's the main challenge. But I think the challenges are opportunities to find better ways, more efficient ways to operate. So there will always be challenges. But I'm kind of maybe a half full as opposed to a half empty kind of person. I see the gaps in between the challenges as opposed to the challenges themselves. So the challenge is always going to be there, but the best thing about it is to focus on what is not a challenge, or the opportunities that these challenges may well, bring up. So from that point of view, challenges are opportunities, and I respect that. As a matter of fact, a lot of the opportunities, a lot of the breakthroughs that have happened as a result of being here have come from challenges. And I think sometimes if you embrace your challenges and work through them, they turn into great opportunities, especially when you're an entrepreneur, because challenges, ways to make you, when your back is on the wall, you think of better ways, more efficient ways to get things done. So challenges are always going to be there, but I think the best thing about it is the joys of overcoming those challenges, because not everybody can. And when you're able to, the challenges then become blessings. My knowledge of accounting has been invaluable to me all these years, because not just about keeping proper books, the importance of understanding some principles in accounting, like the relevance or the benefits of not always having to make a paper profit, and the joy of goodwill, or a system that works, that that is the foundations of accounting. Right. My name is Chike Nwagbogu. This is not your regular 9 to 5, I realize. However, this is my life.